can't see this, so you are on, Jessica. How are you doing?
Hi. I'm doing very well.
That's not actually one of my questions. I'm just trying to be polite. First question, what is most important?
Most important. Can I ask follow-up questions or just go
Absolutely.
Right in? To me, in life?
And that's anyone? Great that you asked. The question you're looking for is in what context?
Yeah.
The answer is in whatever context you want and in as many contexts as you like.
Okay.
Completely open.
Most important, happiness, contentment. Most important thing to me and to life, and I'll just answer both, is when you wake up in the morning, do you have a goal? And even if it's little, like taking a shower or, seriously, when you're depressed, you might not want to get up in the morning. You might not want to do what you need to do. And those goals might be really little. And even if you get those goals achieved, you've done something. And so what's most important is feeling like you've lived. Even if that's not
what it appears
to other people. Yeah. So I've worked with hospice patients, many, many, many dying people. And what has appeared to be most important to people is their family and their friends or their support network, whatever that may look like. I worked with one dying person that she had just close friends and neighbors that surrounded her in her last few days that supported her and cherished her, and that was beautiful. The connections that she has made in order to not die alone was great. And so connections with either your community or your online community or people that you feel safe and supported by, that can look different for each person, and that's what I feel like is most important.
And there are actually 3 or 4 answers in there, and that is perfect. I've gotten most of those answers before, and I totally agree. The very first interview type thing I did was with my 77-year-old neighbor who's had 2 strokes and a bunch of failed marriages. What her most important was moving forward. And that was kind of along the lines the first thing you said.
Yeah.
Was having a goal to move forward towards.
Yeah, I look at what I would like to leave on this planet. And it's a legacy of change and hopefully positive change, either in my little micro community or maybe even on a bigger scale, who knows. But it's a sense of purpose and meaning, and not just a selfish purpose either, but a purpose that will always better the lives of others that maybe have a connection to me or maybe even not. I've got lots of causes that I have no personal interest in because it doesn't affect me at all, but I know it's a crappy thing that's going on, so I want to fix it. I want to help. So feeling like you're making a difference is also important. There's many things that are most important, and the last one that I'll say is most important is I specifically am thinking of one person that I spent quite a bit of time with before he died, and he said, with a smile on his face, knowing he's dying, I lived a great life. And the reason is because I did exactly what I wanted to do. I went for hikes, I went for bike rides, I traveled the world, I went all over, and I did what I wanted to do. Maybe because he was able to, and I don't even think privilege was a part of that. I think it was just because he did. And I think that's great. He lived and died with no regrets.
That sounds to me like his answer would be freedom would be the most important, which is my answer. So I'm kind of imposing that. We can get back to that one if you like.
Okay.
Question number 2 is, what is your history with religion, and at what point did you decide it was or was not for you?
So I was raised in a like every holiday religious kind of family. So I don't. There's a word for it, but it's basically any time there's Easter or Christmas or whatever, you go to church. My grandmother was in a Presbyterian church choir, and music has always been really important to me. So I decided when I was like a teenager on my own, kind of, I'd join the church and so I can sing, because music is super integral to my heart and soul, and it's one of the easiest ways for musicians to get connected to organized music for free, prior to like the Craigslist days.
Right.
But nowadays you got a lot of options because of the internet, so that's great. But I joined a choir and I sang my heart out and I loved it. Didn't necessarily like being surrounded by, seasoned choir people, which translates into like 80-year-old women who loved singing, but it's not something that a younger person's really going to fit into. So I did that for quite some time. I really enjoyed it, but the God and religious part of it was never like my reason for going. I didn't feel like I needed to go to church. It was music based. So, down the road in my 20s, my dad, my mom, they would never have shamed me if I wanted to come out as someone who didn't believe in God or an afterlife or was straight out atheist. And they weren't either, My evolution to becoming a very vocal atheist, I'm all over my social media, I'm open about it, openly secular, is because I feel like, a big part of it was the Carl Sagan video, A Pale Blue Dot. A big part of that video really, really inspired me to realize that we do have this one precious time on earth, and we need to make that time count. That message really, really struck me. As a social worker, we have a code of ethics, and the code of ethics says that we need to help be the voice of people that are oppressed or harmed or anywhere on earth, on this planet. In so many countries, people live in poverty and struggle way more than we do in this country, and religion teaches us that those people are wrong, that those people are going to hell if they don't believe in a Christian God, and I just don't accept that. I don't accept that anyone is worse than me or less than me. I can't buy into that, and that's where, both with my professional values, which are my personal values, I've integrated them together, and the message that we need to make this time count, because this is it. That has made me someone that wanted to disavow religion. As a woman, I can't buy into religion. I don't understand how you can kind of put those two worlds. I just can't. I need to have my freedoms to make the choices that I want to make, and I don't need anyone telling me that I'm less than a man or that I'm a second-class citizen.
Illegitimate child here, so I'm not allowed ever, not even 10 generations. That's what they say.
Yeah.
So
I can't stand behind that kind of a message, and I don't want other people to learn that message, and I will be vocal, and I will speak up, and I will control my body and what I want to do. So I can't get behind that. There's too many inconsistencies and incongruencies to get behind a doctrine that tells you that you're second class. I'm not. So that all kind of sums up my journey. Eventually, after a few years...
Go ahead.
We're going to do our board meeting.
Okay.
Do you want to use this and we can use the other room?
What would you like? Stay here and move to the other room?
Whatever you guys need to do.
I guess we'll stay here.
Okay, all right, and grab my stuff.
Sorry about
faster.
that.
That's fine. I think that's everything. Cool. There might be other people coming in because I don't know who. Is that yours? No. Okay. We'll use the other room. We're going to use the other room. Okay.
Okay.
I feel kind of a jerk, but you didn't want to be on camera. Don't say anything.
Hopefully you
So-
cut that part out.
No, but I like the whole natural thing. That's why I don't mind doing it like in the middle of a diner where there's clacking silverware, because that's real life, you know.
Okay.
And it makes it more real for me. And that's a part of one of the weird things I'm doing this for, is with the sleep deprivation and all the other crap, you know, trying to get a better grip on reality. It's a daily concern, and so that's another way I can relate to you with the addiction and alcohol stuff. I didn't want to get into me. I was getting into you. Did we finish the religion thing?
Yeah, I think so.
But there wasn't really a specific point where you just cut yourself off. You just like,
No, it
well,
was really an evolution. It was a big time evolution. It was when I was going through grad school. You learn so much about yourself and about your work, and that was huge for me to go through that experience, and also kind of. I went to church occasionally, and I was hearing the message that women are second, and I didn't want to hear that anymore. No woman wants to hear that unless they're like, yeah, I'm second, I like it. No one's gonna say that. So I hope not. I hope women start to learn you are so much more valued than that. You deserve to be respected, and not in a structure that weighs you down. Don't accept that, you know. So yeah, so it was very easy for me to go, I don't need this. It doesn't make me a better person. It doesn't make me a worse person. It doesn't.
I think it makes you more free.
Yeah, I'm free. I'm free without shame. You know, I'm free to admit when I have problems and when I have issues, and I'm free to talk about them without feeling guilt or shame. No, I can move forward, and I don't have to hide things. I can admit, like, I have struggled with alcohol, and a lot of people do, and I'm looking for change. And a lot of people who maybe feel shame and guilt about things that aren't socially accepted don't want to bring it up or talk about it. So I feel bad about that. I want to help those people, and you know, I'm thinking of the heterosexual people that have it easy, and I'm thinking of the homosexual people or people in the LGBTQ community that can't speak out and can't live the life they live, and 70-year-old men that haven't come out because they're religious, and it's not acceptable, and it's not safe, and they commit suicide, and it's crazy. You know, be who you are, love who you are, and be free of the chains that keep you down.
Yeah, I have to have good reason to give up my freedom, you know. I don't feel the need to have the freedom to tell other people what to do. I didn't want to get her on camera, but yeah, the freedom is my most important. I think you should be free to do anything you want that doesn't take away that same freedom from another, without their permission. You know, if I need you to do something, tie my shoes, whatever, I can ask you, I can tell you, maybe I could pay you.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
or maybe I can find the will to do it myself.
Yeah.
There's different levels of freedom. Anyways, I'm getting on to me again. Last question. I just started to word it better, but I can't remember. I'm going to have to redo it. What in your life would other people accuse you of being a hero for? Second part of that question is, if you were a superhero in a comic book or movie, what power would you want to have? So what superhuman power do you have, and what do you want to have? Maybe that's...
Superhuman power. I have always wanted to fight for the underdog. That story has always been compelling to me to fight for the person that needs help. And I am not afraid to stand up and speak out when needed. I've taken psychology classes. I know the standby effect. I know that people don't like to speak out, and I always will. I kind of thrive off of that kind of stuff. When someone tells you, don't come out as atheist because you're going to be shamed, the inner rebel says, I'm going to come out as atheist and I'm going to rub some people the wrong way on purpose, and I'm going to think that that's kind of fun. I think that's a strength, to do it the right way, in a respectful way, to not be afraid of change and of speaking out. Those women that, the 1920s, and people that fought for the right to vote, or people that fought for racial equality, or that were on the front lines, that died for those things, they're heroes. I just spoke to a woman that she was on the front lines of the HIV crisis and worked in hospitals and advocated for those patients to be treated like humans, to feed them their meals into their rooms, not leave them outside of the door. The nurses would leave the tray outside the door, and because they don't want to even walk in the room. Like, simple things like that. I'm like, you are a hero. I want to be like that. I don't know how, but occasionally heroes never want to be called heroes. That's the truth.
Yes.
But I want to be that person that breaks through the barrier, that questions authority and questions, why are we doing it this way? Why aren't we changing it and not accepting the status quo? That part, I think, is a common theme in people that have made real differences. And that's inspiring. So...
Did I tell you about my friend Julie in Canada with endometriosis? She's my hero. And maybe it's the sleep deprivation, maybe it's the medication, but I've written some fairly inspired poetry for her about being a hero. And a part of that was a hero defines the boundaries by going beyond them. And she's my hero. She says the same thing about me. And that's why I got everyone wearing that silly hat.
Yeah. So second question, superhero. If I was a comic book superhero, what would I be?
What would your power be? What would your name be? Anything like that.
Oh my gosh.
Someone didn't know either of those, but they knew what their outfit was going to look like.
I don't know. Wonder Woman's amazing. I know I gotta reinvent the wheel, but she's awesome. She's inspiring. She's a feminist at heart.
Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching the 19...
It's hard to beat that.
I'm watching the 70s show with Linda Carter with that 77-year-old woman neighbor of mine. Things have definitely changed.
Gosh. What's hard is... part of me wants to say I would want to give someone a house, or I would want to give someone food and basic needs, right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When I meet patients in the hospital and they have so many barriers to getting to a healthy, successful life, whatever that means to each person, you want to fix it all. So like magic, poof, I want to give you answers to all your problems. But there's a part of that I'm like, ugh, maybe they are who they are and where they are is where they need to be. I don't know. It's like, that's a tough question, but if I did have a superpower, it would be whenever I talk with someone in my job and they're telling me I've got this going on, I wish I could just get you housing or get you clothing or food. And that would fix a lot. But I don't know. That's the tough question.
The red tape slicer. Maybe that would be your hero name.
I don't know. But that's not fun. That's just kind of what in a dream world, that would make my work a lot easier. Because I hate telling people.
So nothing like flying or invisibility or,
Well, that doesn't make a difference. That's just meeting my own needs, and that is never... If I had my own super selfish need, I would be able to learn as fast as I Like I
Ooh,
would,
that's a good
I would
one.
be able to learn everything, like Google in my brain. Like that would be the superpower that I would love to have, because then I would know, like I would know how to play any musical instrument. I would know how to have any kind of conversation. Like put Google in my brain.
So infinite knowledge or
Infinite
something.
knowledge, like automatically, that would be my superhero power, and then I would be able to like
To do all
teach
those
any
things
class.
you want. Yeah.
like. So that's my superpower. Super learner extraordinaire.
My real power is surviving the brain tumor 27 years ago. My imaginary power would be to give other people superpowers. That it's kind of, but not just giving them, but help them learn to use them.
Yeah.
You know, like Professor X and the X-Men, all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
So the very last question is, would you like to ask me any questions?
Yeah. So since you've survived your brain tumor and are on the road to a different path, what have you learned and what are your goals?
In the context of the tumor, a part of what I've learned, and we can put the camera on me if you want, and you can turn this around.
Okay.
Sometimes we do that. Okay.
Turning it around.
Sure, and if you want to watch the screen or if you want me to watch it.
Is it on you?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Okay, so in the context of a brain tumor survivor, just letting people know that the pain is not just in my head. If it were, I would have pulled it out a long time ago. The pain is real, and me and my fellow chronic pain sufferers, we encounter a lot of ignorance and arrogance about, they think we're just trying to get stoned. And it's like, no, you don't understand pain then, and some of these people think that we're there to mooch off the system, and that we're actually fine mentally and physically. And the only reason I think that they could come up with that is that if they were healthy of mind and body, that they would do that. Why else would they think another human being would do that? So that's a huge issue with me. With the endometriosis site, I encourage some of the women to make some videos of their own. And one compiled a bunch of different pictures submitted by many of the women. That was fantastic. One woman, she didn't speak, she had big old note cards, and she knew what was on the note cards because you saw her face change expression when she went to the next slide. And that's some deep shit. So I know that I have someone that compares. I don't think I'm the worst person. I'm not having the worst life ever on the planet, but I would exchange it for a large, vast majority of people, I think. But I'm finding out that there are actually less of those people that I would exchange it for. People who want to put their rules on others. Another part of doing these videos, I discovered, is that I want to take over the world. And I want to do it where it's not me taking over the world, it's everybody taking over the world. If you agree with my thoughts, then we're both ruling the world. If we could all agree on some basic rules, and I think the first one is that we're all going to be able to find an exception to whatever rule we come up with. So rule number one is that there are exceptions to all rules, including rule number one. And that gets me into the rant zone, and I try to stay away from that. It makes me think I'm losing my mind. That's something I also wanted to ask you about your alcoholism. Did you question yourself like that?
Can you be more specific?
That you're losing your mind?
I definitely question my ability to change. If I had it within me to change everything that I've ever known about the world. So.
Was that our door? Go ahead and open it.
Hi.
Just let you know it's about time.
Okay.
Everybody's gone.
Okay.
Just sitting here waiting.
Sounds good. Thanks.
So, did that answer your question fully? I don't even remember the question.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
In the context of the tumor, how is this going to help? I actually have started a bunch of other videos on doing this alone. I don't have a family. I have some really good friends and some really nice neighbors. I've been getting out and going to groups like Sunday Assembly and other things. It's just nice to be out of my apartment.
Good.
That's another reason.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad you spent the time with me.
Thank you.
It was worthy for you.
Yeah, definitely. Always.
Okay. So what I'll probably do is load this up soon and then contact you through the Meetup website.
Okay.
And
I'm
send you
also
a link.
on a couple different groups. The SAC.
Well, tell me which group so I'll remember.
So I'm on SACFan. I'm also a member of Sacramento Area Skeptics. I also have my own personal Facebook page. So, and then
So
I think
give us the name on the Facebook page.
of my page.
Unless you don't want it on YouTube.
Yeah, I probably don't want it on YouTube.
Okay, then I'll just contact Jessica and I'll try to recognize whatever picture you have up there.
Yeah.
And I'll send it to you then.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.